Hi, so here's one of the designs that I've been working on, and you can see there's some pretty cool details that I've added. So I was exploring the different types of lassos, so some of my lines are straight, some of my lines are curved, but you might notice that I have some perfect circles and some more defined shapes. So what you can use as an option, and I'm going to work in this section right here, is that you could explore the shape tool. So it's right down here, and what it'll allow you to do is you can explore the various shapes that you have. You got a bunch of them here. You can go with perfect circles and rectangles and rounded rectangles. And what we're going to do is these are going to be applied as a layer, but we're going to have these layers temporarily, because we're just going to use it sort of as a stencil. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to change the fill from from black to something that's contrasting like red. Okay. And now we're going to pick some shapes. So just to start, maybe I'll just do some ellipses, some circles. So you just drag, and you don't have to make a new layer, it will automatically happen for you. So let's say I'm going to go with a shape like that. And the idea is you're going to use the magic wand tool, and you can see it's called Shape 228. I'm going to select that shape. Now I'm going to make it invisible. So I basically am going to cut this shape from the proper layer. So you can see I'm just temporarily using it just to use it as a stencil. Let's see if I can figure out which layer it is. I think it's this one right here. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to go to Command X to cut it and Command V to paste it. And I'm going to have to flip it. You can see it's a bit pixely. Alright, honestly, if I flipped it, it didn't really make that much of a difference. Alright. So you can do this with multiple shapes, but you have to join those shapes together in order for it to work successfully. So I'm going to delete that shape because I don't need it anymore. I just use it temporarily as a stencil. So I'm going to come over here again, and I'm going to use the shape tool, make it a contrasting color. This time I'm going to go to custom shapes. And I'm going to pick a custom shape. Go with a drop. Okay, so I'm going to put the shape where I want it to be. You can rotate it if you'd like. Big one over there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this shape because I want to use it a couple of times. So I just hit the duplicate button, and I'm just going to go with the same shape a bunch of times. So you can see I can change the position, the direction, the size, and I'm just putting them in a couple of spots. All right, and maybe one more. I think I need one more. Here, I'll make a duplicate of this guy because it's pretty much, I'm going to make one or two of them that are really small. Whoops. Let me do that.
Please pardon the interruption.
Okay, so I just added a whole series of shapes. Now I could take each one separately and use the wand select and do each one individually, but I think it's going to be better if I join these layers together and do them in one space. So to join layers together, it's right here in layer, and it's merge down. So it's going to be merging down, so Control 6. So in order to merge down, you got to go to the very topmost layer in your layers window. And I'm going to go and hit Command and the number 6, and you can see they're joining together. Okay, so now that they're all joined together, I can use the wand select and select one. And if I change the mode to add to selection, I can select all of them. And I can do this in one shot. It just makes life a little bit easier. Okay, there's my shape that I need. Command X, Command V, and I'm going to go ahead and flip it, put it in place. And if you remember, I have those shapes on a separate layer. I'm just using them as a stencil. I don't need them anymore. So you can either make them invisible or you can just go ahead and delete them. So hopefully that's going to be enjoyable for you. Another thing you can do is, instead of using black and white, you can try contrasting colors. So I just picked this really bright pink, and I'm going to add a new layer, an empty layer, and I'm going to add a square. This time, you know, you don't need to do a perfect square. If you want to try a rectangle, you can do something like that. You know, just make sure it's small enough. Then I'm going to dump the color in, and I'm going to dump the same exact, well, I'll just dump black in for now. Okay. So here's where it might get a little bit tricky. I'm going to just get it to be the right size. You can even rotate it if you want. You can try doing a shape like this. But I want it to be a contrasting color from pink. So I'm going to use the fill, and I'm going to pick black, but I actually want it to sample that color right there. Now it's going to be pink on pink. You're not going to see it. It's there. You know, it's pink on pink. But I want to invert this color because it is pink on pink. You can't see it. So if I use the opposite color here, to do that, I can go to Adjustment and Invert. And what it does is it inverts the color. It does like a, you know, a negative sort of thing. So if I just found a picture, let's say, let's see what I got. Picture of, okay, I'll use myself. So if you have a picture of yourself, and I'm going to open this one up. So, different one. But if I go to Adjustment and I go to Invert, it makes it a negative image. So that's just showing you that's what I did to this. I just took the pink and I made it like a green. That's the opposite color on the color wheel. And then I can do the same kind of process if I want. Same sort of idea. Now when you flip it, sorry about that. Let's try that again. You have to do a little bit of an arrangement. Sorry, I'm on your selection. So I go X, Command V. So when I do flip it, I'm going to flip it, but then I have to change the position. I have to rotate it a bit so that axis fits nice and even. So the challenge is going to be, when you're not working with horizontal and vertical lines, you have to do a little bit of a rotation, and you just got to make sure that it's done even. All right. So a couple of varieties. Again, you can use some shapes to make more interesting shapes. You could go with opposite colors, and you can also make your shape lopsided a little bit, and it doesn't have to be a perfect square. All right, so hopefully you guys are having fun, and catch you later.